What's up, everybody? We're back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. It is a new month, March 1st, and you know what that means? That means it is power rankings time. We do this every start of every new month, doing a power ranking video of the NBA. I'm very excited to do it. This is our second to last one. We're going to have one in April, and then that's going to be it. Power rankings for this season, so I'm very excited to do this one here in today's video. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. Enjoy the content around here. Consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I really appreciate it. Really helps out a lot. Link to my Twitter in the description down below. And yeah, don't waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. So of course, if you're new around here, I'll give you a little preview. Go from 30 to 1, ranking my teams. I'm gonna give you some numbers and then talk about why I put the team there and talk about the team overall in general. So right now at this point of the season, with about 25-ish, 20, a little bit around that range of games left for every team. So we're gonna start right away with number 30 team. We have the Washington Wizards at 30th, the worst team in the league. They have the worst record in the NBA, 15th in the East. They are 9-50. They have the 26th ranked offense, the worst ranked defense, and 29th in net rating. They dropped one spot. They were the 2019. They are now 30th. The Detroit Pistons are not the worst team in the league anymore, according to this power ranking at least. But yeah, the Wizards have been very, very bad. They're currently on a 13-game losing streak. Things are really rough over there in Washington. They're one of two teams that went winless in February. Looking at some of their numbers, it's pretty bad. The offensive side of the ball, they take a lot of shots. They're fourth in field goal attempts and they're first in pace. But they are 26th in three-point percentage. They don't get to the free throw line a lot. 25th in free throws made, 27th in free throw attempts. Not a good rebounding team. 26th offensive rebounds, 27th in defensive rebounds, and 30th in rebounds per game. They are third in points off turnovers and third in points in the paint, second in fast break points. So they're getting out in transition and running because they have high pace. But they're 20th in second chance points, and their defense, we know, is awful. 30th in opponent second chance points. It means they're giving up a lot of second chance points. 30th in opponent points in the paint. So they're one of the best teams in scoring in the paint, but they're the worst team at defending the paint. 30th in opponent field goals made. 29th in opponent field goal attempts. 29th in opponent field goal percentage. So teams are hitting a lot of shots, taking a lot of shots, shooting the ball very well against them. 29th in opponent offensive rebounds. 30th in opponent defensive rebounds. 30th in opponent rebounds per game. So they're the worst rebounding team, and they're giving up a lot of rebounds. 30th in assists per game, and 30th in opponent points per game. Yeah, their defense is horrible. They're just a very, very bad team, looking at it. Kyle Kuzma had a chance to get out. Apparently, there's reports that there was a trade to Dallas that may have been in place, but he wanted to stay in Washington. Jordan Poole's coming off the bench now, where he's been solid. He's had a couple 30-point games off the bench. So maybe this is a new role that might ignite him back into seeing what we used to see with Jordan Poole. The shooting numbers are still bad, and the turnover numbers are still bad, but maybe this is a step in the right direction for him. Denny Avdija has been really good, too. He's averaging 13, 6, and 3, shooting 51% from the field, 41% from 3. There's still some solid things I like about Washington, like Bilal Coulibaly, Corey Kispert, Tyus Jones. Unfortunately, I was kind of disappointed that he didn't get traded at the trade deadline. But yeah, the Wizards are bad. They're probably going to finish with the worst record in the NBA. Because, yeah, they're just a very bad team. I don't want to talk about the bad teams for too long in this video because they don't really deserve a lot of time at this point in the season. At 29, we have the Detroit Pistons. They are 9-49. They're 14th in the Eastern Conference. They have the 25th offense, 29th defense. They're 27th in net rating. They jump one spot. They're not the 30th team anymore. Detroit fans, congratulations. You're not the worst team in the NBA for now. Who knows? We still have a lot of time left. But yeah, Detroit, looking at some of their numbers. Three-pointers, they don't do that well. 29th in three-pointers made, 28th in three-point attempts. They're 29th in turnovers per game, so they turn the ball over a lot. 30th in steals. They're 30th in personal fouls as well, so they're fouling the most in the NBA. They're 30th in points off turnovers. So they're offensively, they don't shoot threes, and they turn the ball over a lot, and they foul. They're just undisciplined. On the defensive end, they're not that much better. 30th in opponent points off turnovers, so they're the worst team at getting points off turnovers, and they're the worst team at giving up points off turnovers. They're 26 in opponent points in the paint. The one thing about them, they are third in opponent three-point attempts. So they're not giving up a lot of three-point attempts, but teams are still making them. Again, what I said about the fouls, they're 30th in personal fouls. They're 30th in opponent free throws made, free throw attempts, and free throw percentage. So they're giving up easy ones at the line. They are fourth in opponent offensive rebounds, so they're not giving up a lot of offensive rebounds per game. They're 29th in opponent turnovers, 30th in opponent steals, 27th in opponent points per game. They have been better in the year of 2024. They actually are winning games once in a while. Cade Cunningham is really good, averaging 22, 3-4 or 4-7, shooting 45% from the field, 36% from three. They did make moves at the deadline. Jaden Ivey's starting to come to life a little bit. Jalen Durant has been very good as well. Really like Asar Thompson. Made a lot of moves at the deadline. Quentin Grimes has just started out playing for Detroit. He's going to be a big piece for them, even though he's not shooting the ball well. Since coming to Detroit, he's only played in 3 games, averaging 6 points, shooting 27% from the field and 25% from three. Hopefully that can get, back to what he, used to be or what he was in New York. But yeah, I mean, they're better. I made a video before the All-Star break talking about how every team looks at the All-Star break, and I made a prediction saying that Detroit, I think, was going to pass Washington and not be the worst team in the league. And right now, they're doing it. They're doing it right now, but of course, you got to wait to see how the rest of the season plays out. At 28, we have the San Antonio Spurs. They're 12-48, 15th in the Western Conference. They have the 27th offense, 24th defense. They're 26th in net rating. They drop 1 spot from last power ranking video. The Spurs, still bad record-wise, but they have some good things about them. Look at their numbers real quick. They're 5th in field goal attempts, so they're taking a lot of shots, but they're 25th in field goal percentage, 30th in three-point percentage. They're not getting to the line. They're 26th in free throws made, 29th in free throw attempts. They are 2nd in assists per game, but they're 27th in turnovers. So they're getting a lot of assists, but turning the ball over a lot. 3rd in blocks per game, 3rd in personal fouls. They're 3rd in pace as well. Very interesting. The Spurs are fast, trying to play fast, And then the defensive end, they're 26th in opponent points off turnovers, 27th in opponent field goals made, 25th in opponent field goal percentage, 27th in opponent three-point percentage, 27th opponent defensive rebounds, 20th in opponent rebounds per game, 20th in opponent steals, 26th in opponent points per game. So, yeah, they're, again, not a really good team. They have some things. Victor Wembanyama just had his best month of the season. Wemby is really, really good. He's averaging 20, 10, 3, a steal, 3 blocks. He had a 5x5, triple-double with blocks in this month. Last night, to close out the month, he had a crazy game against OKC, taking over the fourth quarter, beating one of the best teams in the league. He had 28, 13, 7, 5 blocks, hit 5 threes, got the clutch block on Chet Holmgren in the last 2 minutes. He was absolutely dominant. So, yeah, great to see that he is turning. Looks like, he's going to be an amazing player. After that, we don't really have much to kind of hold on to in San Antonio, but Victor Wembanyama is really, really freaking good. At 27, we have the Portland Trail Blazers. They're 15-42, 14th in the Western Conference. They have the 29th ranked offense, 22nd defense, 28th in net rating. They drop 1 spot from last power ranking video. The Blazers are pretty bad. They're a team that I haven't really been excited to watch for a lot of the season, which sucks because they do have a lot of good young players that I think can be solid. But yeah, they're bad. They are the other team. They went winless in February. They're currently on a 9-game losing streak. They are pretty bad. Look at their numbers. Their offense is very terrible. They're 29th in points per game, 29th in field goals made, 30th in field goal percentage, 27th in three-point percentage. They're 5th in offensive rebounds, at least, but they're 30th in defensive rebounds, 30th in assists, 28th in turnovers, 38th in true percentage, 30th in effective field goal percentage, 29th points in the paint, 27th fast break points. The only good thing about their offense is they get a lot of offensive rebounds and they're 5th in second chance points. That's the only good thing about their offense is that they get second chance points, but everything else is pretty bad. Defensively, they're 28th in opponent points off turnovers, 29th in opponent fast break points, 27th opponent points in the paint. But their defense has been okay at points. They're 5th in opponent field goal attempts, but they're 27th in opponent field goal percentage. So they're not giving up a lot of shots, but teams are still making shots. The good thing is about their defense is the 3. They're guarding the 3 well. They're 4th in opponent three-pointers made and 4th in opponent three-point percentage. So teams are not hitting a lot of threes on them, and they're also 4th in opponent turnovers. So they're forcing a lot of turnovers as well, but they are 27th in opponent steals, 28th in opponent blocks. This team is, the offense is pretty bad. Anthony Simons is back, and he plays well. Jeremy Grant has been playing really well. I like what I see from him. DeAndre Ayton is kind of getting better in a sense. Scoot Henderson has been solid as well. They have some decent things about them that I like, but it's a team that's not really fun to watch. A team which is unfortunate because they have a lot of good young players that I like, but they're just, a team that don't really want to watch because their offense is very bad. At 26, we have the Charlotte Hornets. They are 15-44, 13th in the Eastern Conference. They have the 28th offense, 27th defense, 30th in net rating. They actually jump 2 spots from last power ranking video. The Hornets, they're an interesting team. They made a lot of moves at the trade deadline and went on a 3-game win streak, which is something we don't really see from the Charlotte Hornets. Overall, their stats still don't look great. I mean, because they're still a bad team and they lost back-to-back games to Milwaukee. But since the trade deadline, they're 5-3. Their offense has been 29th, but they have a top 5 defense in the game since the trade deadline. So, yeah, a lot of guys making, their acquisitions are making good, making the team better. Miles Bridges has been good. He had a couple 40-point games. Brandon Miller looks great. Brandon Miller so far is averaging 16, 4 and 2, 43% from the field, 37% from 3. Grant Williams so far in his 8 games averaging 14 points on 37% shooting from 3. Trey Mann so far since he's come to Charlotte is averaging 11, 5 and 5 with almost 2 steals, shooting 43% from the field and 41% from 3. Seth Curry's been solid. Vasilij Micic has done some good things. Even Dallas Bertans kind of looks good at some points. So the new additions are coming in and making an impact. The Hornets actually look like a fun team. At least they did look like a fun team the last couple games against Milwaukee. Not really, because their offense still is bad. But they're actually a little more competitive, and again, they look more fun, which is the one thing we really wanted with the Hornets. Even if they're not good, at least be fun. And the Hornets weren't that. But now, adding in some of these new acquisitions, giving the team new life, and with the way Brandon Miller has been balling out, the Hornets actually have some fun. It's something to look forward to in the future. So I like to see that for Charlotte. At 25, we have the Memphis Grizzlies. They're 20-39, sitting at 13th in the Western Conference. They have the 30th offense, the 11th ranked defense, 25th in net rating. They dropped one spot from last power ranking video. The Grizzlies, we all know this kind of is a quote-unquote lost season, even though they've seen some things. But, yeah, of course, their injury list is basically a whole roster at this point, And, they have a lot of no names that nobody really knows playing. But they've shown some good things. Look at their numbers. Their offense is pretty bad. They have the worst ranked offense. They're 30th in points per game, 30th in field goals made, 29th in field goal percentage, 29th in three-point percentage, even though they're top 5 at three-point attempts. They're 29th in true shooting percentage, 29th in effective field goal percentage, 30th in points in the paint, 30th fast break points. But defensively, they're not bad. They're almost a top 10 defense. They're 5th in blocks per game, third in opponent turnovers per game as well. So they're forcing a lot of turnovers, get a lot of steals and blocks. They're still a gritty, grinded out team. And that's the one reason why I still kind of like this Grizzlies team, is that they're just a grit and grind team. Offensively, they're not going to put up a lot of points, but you know what? They're going to come in and play with heart on defense, and they're going to come out and show you, hey, we need to be respected still. Jaren Jackson in the number 1 option role has been a lot better than I expected. 22, 5 and 2, a steal, 1.5 blocks, shooting 44% from the field. He's been solid. Gigi Jackson, their second round pick, is averaging 11 and 3 on good shooting. Lamar Stevens is coming to the team, has been pretty solid. Vince Williams Jr. obviously has been breaking out over there in Memphis. Zaire Williams is starting to get a lot better. So Memphis has some things. Even though it is a kind of a lost season because, they have so many injuries and all this stuff like that, they're going to take a step back. But it could be a blessing in disguise because they're going to have a top pick, and they got a lot of young players like Vince Williams, like Gigi Jackson, that are going to be building confidence. So when we come into next year, when Ja and Desmond Bane come back, they could be like big parts of this team going forward. So I like that for Memphis. At 24, we have the Toronto Raptors. They are 22-37, sitting at 12th in the Eastern Conference. They have the 19th rated offense, 23rd defense. They're 23rd in net rating. They jump one spot from last power ranking video. They went on a 3-game win streak recently. They had a pizza party. So yeah, they're coming out of All-Star break. They're 3-1. So the Raptors actually have been playing some decent basketball. Looking at their numbers, it's still a little bit kind of skewed in a way because, again, their first 25-ish games or whatever, they had Pascal and OG. But look at their numbers. They don't really have a lot of stuff that sticks out. They're 29th in free throw percentage, so they're not shooting the ball super well from the free throw line. RJ Barrett isn't either. They're 3rd in assists per game, though. 1st in fast break points. 4th in points in the paint. Defensively, they're 27th in opponent second chance points, but they don't give a lot of free throws because they're 5th in opponent free throws made, 4th in opponent free throw attempts. So just a few numbers about Toronto. But yeah, Scotty Barnes makes his first All-Star team. He's averaging 28 and 6, a steal and a block. He's been very, very good, shooting the ball 47% from the field, 34% from 3. He's one of only a few players to lead their team in points, rebounds, assists, and steals. And he's tied with Jakob Poeltl for the leader in blocks. So he's been balling out, really. RJ Barrett as well, since he's got to Toronto, is averaging 20.5 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, shooting 55% from the field, 40% from 3. He is shooting 59% from the free throw line, which is crazy. But, yeah, IQ has been solid, averaging 17. Grady Dick, their rookie for lottery pick, is starting to come around a little bit as well. The guys like Kelly Olynyk, Bruce Brown, that can make games interesting. And yeah, so far coming out of the All-Star break, they've had a lot of intensity. The young players are starting to play well. And yeah, that's really all we can ask for Toronto at this point in the season. At 23, we have the Brooklyn Nets. They're 23 and 36, sitting at 11th in the Eastern Conference, 3 games out of the play-in. They have the 20th rated offense, 19th rated defense. They're 22nd in net rating. They stay the same from last power ranking video. I tweeted this out a little while ago, but I'm not really watching the Brooklyn Nets anymore. They're not a good team, not a fun team to watch. It's just, yeah, it's bad over there. They fired Jacques Vaughn. Kevin Ollie now is their new interim head coach. Look at some of their numbers. 26th in field goal percentage. They don't get to the free throw line. They're 20th in free throws made, 20th in free throw attempts, 20th in points off turnovers. Wasn't really a whole lot that sticks out with the Brooklyn Nets. And, yeah, they're bad. There's not really that much to talk about with Brooklyn. I'm expecting a lot of changes to happen this summer, a lot of trades, maybe getting a new coach, a lot of stuff. Because, yeah, this team is not good at all, and I really don't have much to say about them, because, yeah, it's not entertaining right now watching the Brooklyn Nets. At 22, we have the Houston Rockets. They are 25 and 34, sitting at 12th in the Western Conference. They have the 24th ranked offense, the 8th best defense, 18th in net rating. They dropped 3 spots from last power ranking video. Unfortunately, 2024 hasn't gone Houston's way a whole lot. I think they're 10 and 19 since the new year started. Look at their numbers. Their offense has kind of just fallen. They're 25th in field goals made, 28th in field goal percentage, 20th in three-point percentage, 20th in assists, 20th in fouls, 27th in true shooting percentage, 28th in effective field goal percentage. They are a good rebounding team, though. They're 4th in rebounds per game. But defensively, they're still great as well. They're 1st in opponent fast break points. They're 4th in opponent field goals made, 5th in opponent field goal percentage, 3rd in opponent three-point percentage, 1st in opponent free throw percentage, even though they give up a lot of free throws, and they're 4th in opponent assists per game. They're still a really good defense, still a top 10 defense. It's just their offense has kind of struggled a whole lot. Alper Sengun did not have a great month of February. Jalen Green has his moments here and there, but it's still kind of interesting to figure it out. Fred VanVleet also missed a lot of time in the month of February, so that kind of dropped him a little bit. But the good thing is, some of the young guys are balling. Jabbar Smith Jr. is averaging 13 and 8 on solid shooting. Cam Whitmore has broken out. He's been one of the better rookies. Amen Thompson is finally starting to break out as well. Recently, Amen Thompson has been very, very good, especially since Fred VanVleet went out. He was a starting point guard, and he's going to be a really good player. He does a lot of different things, playing with a lot of confidence on both ends as well, which I really like to see. So there's some good things to see with, Houston. It's just that, they're not really winning games, and right now they're kind of taking a step back from being competitive. But it's still fine because there's still some things to build on in the future for Houston. At 21, we have the Utah Jazz. They are 27 and 33. Sitting at 11th in the West, 5 games out of the play-in. They have the 16th best offense, 25th best defense, 24th in net rating. They also dropped 3 spots from last power ranking video. The Jazz were on fire in January, jumped all the way up into the play-in, and now we're like, whoa, Utah's actually a competitive team. But then the month of February, they fell. They took a step back. They've lost, I think, 7 of their last 8 games. They're now 5 games out of the play-in at the 11th spot. They traded away a couple of their veteran guys. Now they're playing a lot more to their young guys. Still looking at their numbers. Offensively, they're still okay. Have some moments. They're 3rd in free throw percentage. They're a good rebounding team. 3rd in offensive rebounds. 3rd in total rebounds per game. 2nd in second chance points. 5th in points in the paint. They are 30th in turnovers per game, though. They have the most turnovers in the NBA. They defensively, they're 29th in opponent points off turnovers. 30th in opponent fast break points because they turn the ball over so much. They're 26th in opponent field goals made. 26th in opponent field goal attempts. 29th in opponent three-pointers made. 29th in opponent three-point percentage. 29th in opponent assists. 29th in opponent steals, 30th in opponent blocks. It's just come down. They were hot, and now they've fallen. They're playing a lot more of their young guys. Terry Hendricks is now starting for them. Keontae George is getting a bigger role. I like him a lot. They still got Lauren Markkinen playing solid. Colin Sexton is still playing really well, too. But, yeah, they traded away guys like Kelly Olynyk, Simone Fontecchio, guys that were really kind of a little bit of glue guys in the sense of helping them win games, and now they're kind of taking a step back. And then the young guys, Bryce Sensabaugh, their first-round pick out of Ohio State, getting minutes now. So they're kind of going for the younger guys, getting minutes, which I like to see for Utah. It's kind of like what they did last year, where they started off competitive, and then they came down, and they traded away a lot of their vets, and then let the young guys play at the end of the season. They're doing the same thing this year, where they traded away a couple of their vets. Now they're letting the younger guys kind of get comfortable and taking the wheel, which I like for Utah. And, yeah, they're still a team that could come out and be dangerous. Still have some guys that maybe once in a while could come out and do something on nights, but they're just not really competitive anymore. At 20, we have the Atlanta Hawks. They are 26 and 33, sitting at 10th in the Eastern Conference. They are the 11th best offense, 28th defense, 21st in net rating. They jump 2 spots from last power ranking video. Trae Young is going to be out for a little while with a thumb injury, I'm pretty sure. Reevaluated in 4 weeks, and that's big for Atlanta. Right now, Atlanta's going through some times. They stayed packed at the trade deadline. They didn't make any moves. And so this is kind of the team for the rest of the year, and they're just going to see what happens. They're still 3 games above the Nets, so they're comfortably right now in the play-in. But, who really wants to be comfortably in there? Looking at some of their numbers, their offense is still electric at some points, even though they don't have Trae Young right now. They're 5th in points per game, 1st in field goals attempted, 3rd in free throws made, 5th in free throw attempts, 1st in offensive rebounds, 4th in pace, 3rd in second chance points. So they have some good things about their offense still, but their defense is still very horrible. They're 20th in opponent fast break points, 28th in opponent points in the paint, 29th in opponent field goals made, 28th in opponent field goal percentage, 27th opponent three-pointers made, 28th in opponent three-point percentage, 28th in opponent assists, and 29th in opponent points per game. Defense is still bad, and now with our Trae Young, we're going to see. Can DeJounte Murray, as kind of lead guy again, kind of take over now? I still really love Jalen Johnson. He's having a great year still. DeAndre Hunter has come back from injury, and he's looked pretty solid. I got Conwell, unfortunately, is out, which is tough for them. But, yeah, this Hawks team, still not a very good one. Still, again, has some fun, has some explosiveness on some nights, but not without Trae Young. I'm going to be seeing. A lot of people are going to be seeing, okay, how does this team really look, without Trae Young, with DeJounte kind of as the lead guy? Are they going to get better? Are they going to look better? So far, they haven't really. They just got beat by dang near 30 to the Nets last night. But, we'll see what happens with them. At 19, we have the Chicago Bulls. They're 28-31, sitting at 9th in the Eastern Conference. They have the 21st offense, 15th rated defense, 20th in net rating. They jump 1 spot from last power ranking video. The Bulls are kind of sitting comfortably in 9th. They're 2 games above the Hawks for the 10th spot, but they're also 5 games behind the 8th seed. So they're pretty much almost a lock for the play-in. Look at some of their numbers. They're 25th in points per game, 27th in assists per game, but they're 2nd in turnovers per game. So they're not turning the ball over. They're being efficient with the ball. They're 29th in pace, 26th in effective field goal percentage, 20th in fast break points. So offensively, they're still kind of but defensively, they're okay. They're actually average. Again, they're the 15th, so they're about average defense. They're 1st in opponent points in the paint. So Vucevic is down there protecting the paint. 5th in opponent fast break points, 4th in opponent field goal attempts, 5th in opponent offensive rebounds, 3rd in opponent steals. The only bad thing about their defense is they give up threes. They're worse in the league at teams hitting threes on them and teams shooting threes. They're 30th in opponent three-pointers made and three-point attempts. So teams are shooting the 3-ball on them. So they're playing kind of a risky style of defense, but it's been, working? I mean, they've been winning some games. They got a good double overtime win against Cleveland the other night. But yeah, they have a lot of injuries. Zach LaVine is out for the season. Patrick Williams is now going to be out for the rest of the season. Alex Caruso is injured right now. They have a lot of injuries. Kobe White, though, has been really good. Andre Drummond has been great. He had 26 rebounds the other night. So you got some good things about them, But still a team that's probably going to just be out of here in the play-in, At 18, we have the Golden State Warriors. They're 31-27, sitting at 10th right now in the Western Conference. They have the 9th best offense, 18th best defense. They're 13th in net rating. They jumped 3 spots, which is tied with 2 other teams for the biggest jump in this power ranking. They have looked a lot better. Since Draymond has come back, they've been a way better team, letting the young guys play. And yeah, they look good. Looking at some of their numbers, they're 3rd in field goal attempts. The threes are still dominant for them. 2nd in three-pointers made, 3rd in three-point attempts. The rebounding has been really good as well. Despite being a small team, they're 4th in offensive rebounds and 2nd in rebounds per game. Steph had 11 boards last night. They're 4th in assists per game. They're still 27th in steals and blocks. Defensively, they still have to get some things together, but it's getting better. They're 29th in fast break points, 25th in opponent points off turnovers. They give up free throws as well. They're 26th in opponent free throws made and free throw attempts. But again, things have been getting better. They're 4 games over 500, which is the best they've been in a little while. Steph has still been really good, averaging 27, 4, and 5, shooting 41% from 3. Klay Thompson's coming off the bench now. And in his, 6 games since coming off the bench, he's actually been, pretty good. In his 6 games coming off the bench, he's averaging 19, 3, and 2, shooting 46% from the field and 44% from 3, including a 35-point game, a couple 20-point games. So he's looking a lot better now in his new role coming off the bench, embracing that. Draymond has been really good. Brandon Pajemski has been great still. So has Jonathan Kuminga. He's averaging 15 and 4 now. Chris Paul is back, which is big. Gary Payton II is back now. So the Warriors are making, kind of their run right now. They have lost Andrew Wiggins now. They said a personal matter for the 2nd year in a row. We don't know when he's going to be able to come back. But the Warriors are making their run now. And so we'll see what happens. They're a very interesting team, maybe to jump on some teams, and still a dangerous team as long as you have Steph, Clay, and Dre, despite how old they are. At 17, you have the LA Lakers. They are 33-28, sitting at 9th in the Western Conference. They have the 18th best offense, 17th best defense. They're 19th in net rating. They stay the same from last power ranking video. Lakers are also similar to the Warriors, where they're starting to find their groove a little bit. They won a couple games in a row. They got a great win against the Clippers, where LeBron took over that fourth quarter. That was their best win of the season. They needed that one right there. They're 5 games over 500. They're playing good. Looking at some of their numbers, they're third in field goal percentage, so they're being efficient. Still not a good three-point shooting team. They're 20th in three-pointers made and 30th in three-point attempts, but they have a good percentage on them. They're 30th in offensive rebounds, but they're 5th in defensive rebounds. So they're a bad offensive rebounding team, but a good defensive rebounding team. They're first in fouls as well, so that means they're not fouling teams a lot. They're third in fast break points, second in points in the paint. Their defense has been getting better as well. Still not great. They're 28th in opponent second chance points, and they're 30th in second chance points themselves because they're a bad offensive rebounding team. They're 30th in opponent field goal attempts, so it means teams are shooting the ball a lot on them. And they're also giving up threes. They're 20th in opponent three-pointers made, 20th in opponent three-point attempts, but they're not giving up free throws as well. They're second in opponent free throws made and they're first in opponent free throw attempts. But yeah, things have been getting a lot better for the Lakers since then. They didn't make any moves to the trade deadline. They stayed pat. LeBron and AD are still having great seasons. D'Angelo Russell has been great. He's averaging 17 and 6 on 41% shooting from three. Austin Reeves looking a little more comfortable. They added Spencer Dinwiddie, who's been all right since he's got there. They've been healthy. Brett Jamura, Torian Prince, Cam Reddish just returned. They don't have Vanderbilt right now, but hopefully he'll be back soon. But the Lakers are starting to look a lot better. A competent team, and now them and the Warriors are kind of battling for that 9-10 spot. The Lakers and Warriors are only a half game between each other, so they're battling for that 9th or 10th spot. But also the Lakers are still trying to stay afloat there, but also maybe try to fight for that 8th spot. They're only a game and a half out of the 8th spot right now, which is not impossible. So maybe the Lakers can jump, but they're a team that, they're starting to play together. They're starting to look a little better as days go on. And if they can stay consistent like this, then maybe they have a chance. I mean, when you have LeBron and AD, you have a chance at anything. But if the role players can step up, they're going to be a dangerous team potentially down there. Depends. They got to be consistent, though. At 16, we have the Philadelphia 76ers. They're 33-25. They're 5th in the East. They have the 8th best offense, 12th best defense. They're 10th in net rating. They have the biggest drop. They dropped 8 spots from last power ranking video. Even though the numbers and stats still look good because of Joel Embiid, his MVP takes, and they're still 5th in the East. Since Joel Embiid has gone out, they're 4-8. They have the 23rd offense, 28th defense, and 27th in net rating. Things have not been great without Joel Embiid. Again, even though the numbers and stats still say that they're a really good team, we know that without Joel, they're not. Tyrese Maxey's not the number one option. He hasn't been as great. He has had some good performances, though. Just hasn't been great. The offense just hasn't been there. And defensively, they've really dropped off. They're one of the worst defenses in the league as well. Tobias Harris also has been kind of inconsistent since then. The new additions, though, have been good. Buddy Hield and Cameron Payne have been good. They have got a couple wins. They got a couple wins off Cleveland. They've been in some competitive games. The Boston game, they were competitive in until the last couple minutes where Boston kind of took over. They've been competitive, but now they're kind of battling. Them, the Magic, and Pacers are all tied for that 5th through 7th spot, and the Heat are only a half game behind them. So there's a real possibility that the Sixers end up in the play-in. And we also don't know when Joel's coming back. He had a kind of press conference the other day saying, if he's ready to play, he'll be ready to play. But there's still no really any timetable on when he's supposed to come back. And my thoughts on it are, I said a couple times, but I don't think he should come back this season. But I won't be surprised if he gets ruled kind of healthy-ish, he'll come back and play because that's who he is, I guess. But yeah, the Sixers team has really fallen off without Joel Embiid, obviously, because Joel has been amazing this season. Without him, it just shows that this team is not good enough without him. At 15, we have the Sacramento Kings. They're 33-25, sitting at 8th in the Western Conference. They have the 14th best offense, 20th defense, 17th in net rating. They dropped 4 spots from last power ranking video. The Kings have been kind of up and down, I feel like, for a lot of this season. They have some good moments. They have some bad moments. Right now, they're not been great. They're sitting at 8th in the West, but again, that's kind of not great because they can win 2 games in a row and be up to 5th because that's how close that middle of the West is. Looking at some of their numbers, they're 4th in field goals made, 4th in three-pointers made, 4th in three-point attempts, so they're still getting up a lot of their shots. They're not a good free throw shooting team at all either. They're 20th in free throws made, and they're 30th in free throw percentage, so they're not getting the easy ones. 20th in blocks. Defensively, they have some things they're good at. They're 1st in opponent second chance points and 2nd in opponent fast break points, and they're first in opponent offensive rebounds. So they're not giving up second chance points and get second opportunities to teams. But they are 30th in opponent 3-point percentage. So teams are hitting a lot of threes on them, and they're 20th in opponent free throw percentage. But this Kings team, still a solid team though. You know, De'Aaron Fox has still been good. Domantas Sabonis, man, he's been one of the best players in the NBA recently. He's averaging 20, 13, and 8 on 61% shooting. He leads the league in triple doubles. He's had 41 consecutive double doubles. He's been insane. Keegan Murray has been a lot better as well. It's just the other things besides those three have kind of been inconsistent. Malik Monk has still been solid, I guess. But after that, Kevin Huerter, so all right. Harrison Barnes does his thing here and there. The bench doesn't have the same, kind of pop that it did last year. And I'm interested to see what happens down the stretch of the season for the Kings, because I could definitely see them, being a tough first round exit, but I could also see them maybe missing out on the playoffs entirely because of the play-in. Because right now they would be in the play-in and have to face the Mavericks, and if they lose that game, they have to face either the Lakers and Warriors, who are hot right now. So it's tough to see where the Kings are at, but I still respect the Kings. Fox and Sabonis have still been amazing so far this season, so they're a team you can't count out. At 14, we have the Orlando Magic. They're 34-26, sitting at 6 right now in the Eastern Conference. They have the 22nd best offense, the 5th best defense, 14th in net rating. They jump 2 spots from last power ranking video. The Magic, have been very solid, especially as of recently. They have the easiest schedule left in the NBA, and they hopefully can take advantage of it, because right now they're sitting at 6th. They could be a 5th spot, even 4. The only game out of the 4th spot, the Magic are, even though they had a rough kind of January where they had a lot of injuries, were kind of, not doing great, but now they're starting to pick it back up. Looking at some of their numbers, their offense still is not great. They're 26th in points per game, 26th in field goals made, 20th in field goal attempts. They're the worst, probably one of the worst 3-point shooting teams. They're 30th in 3-pointers made, 29th in 3-point attempts, 25th in 3-point percentage, but they do get to the free throw line. They're 5th in free throws made, 3rd in free throw attempts, but they're 20th in free throw percentage. So they get into the line, but they're not making a whole lot of them. 25th in defensive rebounds, 26th in pace, but defensively they're still elite. They're 3rd in steals per game. They're 2nd in points off turnovers, 3rd in opponent second chance points, 3rd in opponent field goals made, 1st in opponent field goal attempts, 5th in opponent 3-pointers made, 4th in opponent 3-point attempts, 2nd in opponent offensive rebounds, 5th in opponent defensive rebounds, 1st in opponent rebounds per game. So they're not giving up a lot of rebounds. They're 1st in opponent assists, 2nd in opponent turnovers per game, and 5th in opponent points per game. So their defense is still amazing. As long as their defense is like that, they're going to be able to be in some games. It's just really about their offense. Paolo made the All-Star team this year. He's kind of going on a little rough stretch shooting the ball wise, because now people are kind of paying attention and seeing like, okay, double Paolo and let everyone else beat us. Franz Wagner's still been good, but they are getting healthy as well. Wendell Carter's back. Markelle Fultz is back. Unfortunately, John Isaac is out again, but they're getting healthy now, and they have an easy schedule left. So maybe the Magic can do something here, and they're still a gritty, tough team, one of my favorite young teams. And as long as their defense is elite like that, they're going to have a chance. But I'm very interested to see where the Magic end up in the standings. That'll be very interesting to see. At 13, we have the Miami Heat. They're 33-26, sitting at 8th in the Eastern Conference. They have the 23rd offense, the 7th best defense, 16th in net rating. They jumped 2 spots from last power ranking video. The Heat were on a rush stretch in mid-January. They went on a 7-game losing streak. They were very bad. But since then, they got a lot better. They were on a 5-game winning streak until last night. They lost to the Denver Nuggets. But since that 7-game losing streak, they have won 9 of their last 12 games. And they're getting healthy again, starting to look better. Looking at some of their numbers, their offensive numbers still don't look great. They're 27th in points per game, 28th in field goals made, 29th in field goal attempts. They are 4th in free throw percentage, but they're 28th in pace, 27th in second chance points, but their defense is still elite. Even though also their blocks are not good. They're 30th in blocks per game, which is interesting. But their defense is still really good. They're 5th in opponent field goals made, 3rd in opponent field goal attempts. They're not fouling a lot. They're 4th in opponent free throws made, 3rd in opponent free throw attempts, 3rd in opponent offensive rebounds, and they're 3rd in opponent points per game. So their defense is still top 10, still really good. Their offense is not great, but it's getting better. Jimmy Butler is back. He missed a couple games due to a personal family matter, but he's back and he's been balling out. He had the little scuffle with the Pelicans, and now he's ready to go. Tyler Hero is back playing well. Bam is playing well. Terry Rozier is getting a lot better, as time goes on. Doug Robinson has been good. Jaime Jaquez, of course, has been great. The role players have been solid as well. And the Heat are starting to come out. They're very dangerous right there. I made a video when I was talking about predicting the second half of the season for teams. I think the Miami Heat are climbing up. They were just the 5th spot until last night they lost, and they dropped down to 8th because that's how close the middle of the Eastern Conference is. But they're a team you definitely have to watch out for no matter what seeding they are. They still have the respect of being there, and now they're finally starting to get healthy. They look a lot better, and they're starting to catch up to some teams. At 12, we have the New Orleans Pelicans. They're 35-25, sitting at 6th in the Western Conference. They have the 13th best offense, the 6th best defense, and 5th in net rating. They jump one spot from the last power ranking video. The numbers look crazy for the Pelicans. One of the best defenses. Offense has been really good as well. Looking at some of their numbers, offensively, nothing really sticks out for them, but defensively, it does. They're second in steals per game. They're 5th in points off turnovers, but they're 5th in opponent points in the paint. They are 29th in opponent three-point attempts, but they're 1st in opponent three-point percentage. So they're giving up a lot of threes, but teams aren't making them pay, and they're 4th in opponent steals per game. They didn't have an all-star this year, which I kind of predicted and expected. Zion, since he's become the point guard, has been really interesting. He's averaging 22, 5, and 5. He's been a lot better. B.I. had a great game against the Pacers the other night. CJ McCollum is back playing well. Herb Jones, I love him. Jordan Hawkins has been solid. Trey Murphy has been as well. They're healthy. They're the healthiest they've been in a while, besides Dyson Daniels. He's going to be out for a little while. But, they're a very polarizing kind of team. Because I feel like they're a team that, numbers-wise, should be among the top. But when you actually, watch them or compare them to other teams, there's something missing. There's something not there about them. I don't really know what it is. They've been, to me, I've said a couple times, but one of the more confusing teams in the league to kind of rate. Because offense, numbers-wise, and you look at their roster, they should be a well-respected team, and a dangerous team. But then when you watch them play, sometimes it's like it doesn't reflect the same. It's like, dang, there's something about this team that I don't know what it is, but they don't have it all figured out yet. So they're a team definitely interested to see what happens coming down late in the year and to the playoffs as well. Because they're a team I can see going both ways. I see them being a team that could give a Nuggets or a Clipper team some dangerous run. But I can also see them being a team that maybe, is disappointing and loses out and flames out. So I don't really know what happens with the Pelicans. At 11, we have the Dallas Mavericks. They're 34-25, sitting at 7th in the Western Conference. They have the 6th best offense, 21st defense, 15th in net rating. They also jumped 3 spots from last power ranking video, tied for the biggest jump. The Mavericks have been really good since the trade deadline with, P.J. Washington and Daniel Gafford added to the team. They were on a 7-game win streak until they lost a couple games in a row, but now they're back. They got a win against the Raptors the other day. Looking at their numbers, offense is still really good. They're 3rd in three-pointers made, 2nd in three-point attempts, 3rd in turnovers per game. Defensively, not great, but it's been a little better. They're 20th in points in the paint. They're 27th in opponent fast break points, 27th in opponent offensive rebounds, 27th in opponent rebounds. They're 2nd in opponent blocks, though, so teams aren't blocking their shot. But since the trade deadline, in those games, I think they're 5-2 since the trade deadline, and they have the 5th best offense, the 9th best defense, and they're 5th in net rating. So they're a top 10 defense since the trade deadline. Gafford and Washington, since they got there, have been solid. Daniel Gafford, in his 7 games he's played, he's averaging 10 and 8 with over 1 block per game, shooting 64% of the field. P.J. Washington, even though he's not shooting the ball well from 3, he's been better the last couple games. Luka has still been great. Still in that top, conversation for MVP, averaging 34, 8, and 9, almost 34, 9, and 10, dang near. And Kyrie Irving has been a lot better as well, averaging 26 points per game with 5 rebounds and 5 assists as well. He's been really good. Tamari Jr. is still the leader for 6th man of the year for me. They've been healthy now. Dante Exum is back, which is big. Derek Lively, Josh Green's been playing well. Derek Jones Jr. is back and playing good. Maxi Kleber's back and playing good. So this Mavericks team, they're a dangerous team. I made a video the other day that got almost 2,000 views, so thank you guys for that. But how dangerous they are, and they're still a very dangerous team. They're still a team that if I'm one of the top teams in the West, I kind of hope that I don't have to play them in the first round because they're very scary. We're entering the top 10. At number 10, we have the Indiana Pacers. They're sitting at 34-26, 7th right now in the Eastern Conference. They have the 2nd best offense, 26 defense, 12th in net rating. They jumped 2 spots from last power ranking video. They don't have the best offense in the NBA anymore, but they've still been really good. Looking at some of their offensive numbers are still insane. They're 1st in points per game, 1st in field goals made, 2nd in field goal attempts, 1st in field goal percentage, 5th in three-point percentage, 1st in assists, 2nd in pace, 2nd in true shooting percentage, 1st in effective field goal percentage, 4th in fast break points, 1st in points in the paint, 4th in points off turnovers. Offensively, they do their thing. They score, they play fast, they do that. Defensively, though, it's been better, but still not great. They're 29th in rebounding per game, 29th in fouls. They're 29th in opponent points in the paint, 28th in opponent field goals made, 30th in opponent field goal percentage, 29th in opponent free throws made, 29th in opponent free throw attempts, 20th in opponent points per game. The good thing about their defense is they don't give up threes. They're 1st in opponent three-pointers made and three-point attempts, so they're not giving up the 3 ball. You know, they're letting teams get to the paint, and they're fifth in opponent assists. You know, Tyrese Halliburton did have kind of a rough stretch, dealing with the hamstring injury, kind of not playing as much. But as of recently, he's starting to put it back together. Pascal Siakam is coming to Indiana. He's averaging 21, 7, and 4 on 56% shooting and 39% from 3. The game against the Pelicans on ESPN, the Tyrese and Pascal connection was amazing. They had like 3 dimes in a row to Pascal to kind of steal the game. And yeah, he brings a new dynamic. Miles Turner has been really good as well recently. The role players have still been playing really good. And they're still a dangerous team in the Eastern Conference, especially if the Tyrese and Pascal connection continues to grow. They're going to be a very dangerous team because we know how many points they put up, you know. And really, it's just about getting stops. That's what it's been the entire year. And I'm going to be interested to see who their first-round matchup is because right now they would play Cleveland in the first round. They could play Milwaukee. They could even, their scenario, they play New York. Like, there's a lot of different scenarios. So I feel like I'm going to be very interested to see who they play in the first round when they match up. At number 9, we have the Phoenix Suns. They're 35-24, sitting at 5th in the Western Conference. They have the 7th best offense, 13th best defense. They're 11th in net rating. They jumped 1 spot from last power ranking video. The Suns were hot. You know, they have a very tough schedule left, so we're going to really see what the Suns team is about. You know, they won back-to-back games. They're sitting at 5th right now in the Western Conference. Their defense has gotten a lot better as well. Looking at some of their numbers, they're 27th in field goal attempts, but they're 4th in field goal percentage. So they don't take a lot of shots, but when they do, they're making them. Similar to their threes as well. They get to the free throw line a lot. They're 2nd in free throws made, 2nd in free throw attempts. They're 5th in true shooting percentage. They're 4th in blocks per game as well. They're 27th in opponent points off turnovers. They're 20th in opponent offensive rebounds, but they're 1st in opponent defensive rebounds per game. They're 4th in opponent rebounds per game. So they're not a good team at, you know, giving up off. They give a lot of offensive rebounds, but they don't give a lot of defensive rebounds, which is interesting. But their defensive numbers have gotten better. They're kind of about average-ish and everything. You know, Kevin Durant and Devin Booker made the All-Star team. They two have been great. Bradley Beal is fortunately out again with the hamstring injury. So I don't know if we're ever going to see a stretch where those 3 play together. Grayson Allen's been good. I love the Royce O'Neal pickup. He's been really good for them. Drew Eubanks is playing solid. Yusuf Nurkic. Bol is starting to come onto the scene as well a little bit. Getting more minutes now that they traded basically their entire bench away for Royce O'Neal. You know, but Bol is starting to come in and looking a little solid, you know. But yeah, this is going to be a big stretch for Phoenix. They have the hardest schedule left in the NBA. So we're going to see how real this Suns team is. At number 8, we have the New York Knicks. They're 35-25, sitting at 4th in the Eastern Conference. They have the 10th best offense, 10th best defense, 9th in net rating. They dropped 1 spot from last power ranking video. The Knicks were hot, but, you know, a lot of injuries has kind of, you know, messed them up. They're lost, they're 3-8 in their last 11 games. They've just had a lot of injuries. Julius Randle has missed some time. We don't know when he's going to come back. OG Anunoby hopefully is coming back soon. They missed Jalen Brunson for a game or 2. They missed Isaiah Hartenstein for a couple games. So yeah, they've had a lot of injuries. They dropped to 4, and now they're kind of battling to stay at 4 because they're only a game above Philly, Orlando, Indiana, only a game and a half above Miami at the 8th spot. So 4 through 8 is getting very close in the Eastern Conference. But fully healthy, this Knicks could be dangerous. They made the pickups for Bogdanovich and Alec Burks at the trade deadline, which have been pretty solid. Bogdanovich has been pretty good since coming to New York. He's been shooting the ball very well from 3. He's averaging 13, 3 and 1, shooting 39% from 3. Jalen Brunson has still been really good. Donte DiVincenzo's been shooting the lights out from 3. Josh Hart doing his thing. Alec Burks has been really solid as well. Precious Achiuwa has come onto the scene. Now without Julius Randle, he stepped in, and he's been pretty solid at starting at 4. They're running a big lineup with Precious and Isaiah Hartenstein, but it's been working. But yeah, they just have a lot of injuries right now. They just really need to worry about, you know, getting healthy. And once they do, they're going to be a very dangerous team no matter what seed they are, personally, I think. At number 7, we have the Milwaukee Bucks. They're 39-21, sitting at 3rd in the Eastern Conference. They have the 4th best offense, 16th best defense, 8th in net rating. They dropped 1 spot from last power ranking video. But the Bucks might be back. They won 4 in a row. You know, coming out of the All-Star break, they've looked very, very good. They're 4-0 since coming out of the All-Star break. They had a good win against the Timberwolves. They beat the Hornets back-to-back. But still, they look a lot better. Their defense now is average, about 16th, which is really good because their offense is still really good. Looking at some of their numbers, they're 2nd in points per game, 3rd in field goals made, 5th in field goal percentage, 5th in three-pointers made, 4th in free throws made, 4th in free throw attempts, 5th in pace, 3rd in true shooting percentage, 3rd in effective field goal percentage. So offensively, you know what they can do. You know, 2nd in defensive rebound, even though they're 27th in offensive rebounding. 5th in opponent points off turnovers, which is big. 29th in points off turnovers themselves. Defensively, They still don't force a lot of turnovers. They're 20th in opponent turnovers per game. But looking at their defensive numbers compared to last time I looked at them, they've gotten better. Now, they're not elite still, but they jumped. Like, they're about average defensively, which is big, And their offense is starting to put it together a little bit as well, One thing after Doc Rivers came was the defense was getting better, but the offense is kind of slowing down. But their offense has still been solid now, and they're starting to put it together on both ends. Giannis is having an MVP-type year, averaging 30, 11, and 6 with a steal and a block, shooting 61% from the field. Dame is slowly starting to get better shooting the ball wise. Bobby Portis has been really good. Malik Beasley's still shooting the lights out. They don't have Chris Middleton now, which is unfortunate from the injuries, but the Bucks are starting to look better. And maybe the second half of the season they could show us the teams like, hey, you've disrespected us this entire year. We're still here. Now they're battling for the 2 seed with the Cavaliers. They're tied for the 2 seed. And, yeah, this Bucks team is starting to put it together, man. It could get scary over there in Milwaukee. At number 6, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're 38-20, sitting at second in the Eastern Conference. They have the 15th best offense, the 3rd best defense. They're 4th in net rating. They also jumped 3 spots in last power video, tied for the biggest jump. The Cavs were insane in January. In February, they were good. They have not been good. They're 2-3 since coming out of the All-Star break. They did miss Donovan Mitchell for a couple games. Looking at their numbers, offensively, they don't really stand out. They're about an average-ish offense, but their defense is elite. They're 3rd in opponent points in the paint, 2nd on opponent field goals made, 4th in opponent field goal percentage, 3rd in opponent assists, 2nd in opponent points per game. And since January 3rd, which is when they started this hot stretch, they have the 5th best offense, the 2nd best defense, and the best net rating in the last 2 months. So they've been great, they're trying to stay at 2nd right now because, again, the Bucks are catching up and they've lost a couple games. But Donovan Mitchell has some legitimate MVP conversations, averaging 28, 5, and 6 and almost 2 steals on really good shooting. Darius Garland is back. Jared Allen's been really good. Evan Mobley, since he's come back from injury, has been really good as well. Christopher has been having some double-doubles, almost triple-doubles recently. Max Strus hit that crazy game winner the other night. Isaiah Crowell has been good. Sam Merrill, of course, been shooting the ball still really well. This is still a very good Cavs team, and if their defense is like this, man, as long as their offense is kind of okay with Donovan Mitchell, they're going to be a very dangerous team. How much do I believe in them in terms of contending and winning a championship? I don't really know yet. We're going to do a video eventually, like tier ranking contenders and stuff. But they're still a very dangerous team because of their defense and because they can get hot. Since January 3rd, they've had a top 5 offense. A lot of that is led to Donovan Mitchell, but a lot of that also is their other guys like George Niang, Sam Merrill, Max Strus, Karis LeVert, Isaiah Okoro, kind of stepping up and playing a good role. And now they're fully healthy for the first time in a while. This is going to be their first fully healthy stretch in a little while, So we're really going to see how this Cavs team looks. We are now in the top 5. At number 5, we have the LA Clippers. They're 37-20, sitting at 4th right now in the Western Conference. They have the 5th best offense, the 14th rated defense, their 6th in net rating. They dropped 3 spots in last power ranking video. They were hot. Obviously, they were one of the hottest teams, if not the hottest team in the league. But as of recently, they started to kind of lose some games. They're 1-3 coming out of the All-Star break. They lost to OKC, lost to Sacramento, and then they blew a lead to the LA Lakers. They have not had Paul George for some of those games in there, but we know how dangerous they still can be. They still have Kawhi, James Harden, Paul George when he's there. Norman Powell has been amazing. He's in consideration for 6th man of the year as well. Russell Westbrook has been playing really good off the bench. I love what Terrence Mann has been as well for them. So, the Clippers are still a very dangerous team. It's just that, their defense has also kind of slipped a little bit. Before they were hovering around the top 10, now they've dropped to almost average defensively. But they're still a dangerous team, obviously. I'm not really worried about this kind of 1-3 stretch. I don't really know. They lost the first 6 games to James Harden, and they seemingly never lost since then. So now they're losing a couple games. That's okay. They just got to get, I guess, more wins against some good teams. At number 4, we have the Denver Nuggets. They're 41-19, sitting at 3rd in the Western Conference. They have the 12th best offense, the 9th best defense, their 7th in net rating. They jump 1 spot from last power ranking video. The championship Nuggets are back. They've won 5 in a row. They've been killing it since coming out of All-Star break. Looking at some of their numbers, I think I've said in the last couple power ranking videos, but they don't really have anything that jumps off the page. Looking at their numbers wise, offensively they're okay. They're 5th in field goals made, 5th in assists per game. They don't really take a lot of threes or make a lot of threes, and they're also 27th in pace. Defensively, they've been good, though. They're a top 10 defense. They're 4th in opponent second chance points. They don't give up a lot of threes. They're 2nd in opponent 3-pointers made, 2nd in opponent 3-point attempts. you know. But the last 5 games, they've been dominant, and now they're showing, the championship selves. I feel like the first half of the season, they kind of just coasted, even though they're still a top seed in the West. They were kind of like coasting a little bit. But now, coming out of the All-Star break, and they've been firing. Beat the Wizards, beat Portland, beat Golden State, teams they're supposed to beat, and then getting some good wins against Sacramento and Miami. And they play the Lakers on Saturday, which is going to be another big game. They have a tough stretch. They play the Lakers, Suns, and Celtics back to back to back. So that's going to be a real test to see how really good the reigning champs are. Nikola Jokic, right now, probably is the MVP favorite, for me at least, but it's very close. But, it's tough going against 25, 12, and 9 with a steal on 58% shooting. Jamal Murray's getting back. Now, he did suffer an ankle injury last night, so hopefully that's nothing too serious. MPJ has been really good since coming out of the All-Star break as well. Aaron Gordon is good. This is just still a dangerous team. Still worried about the bench a little bit in terms of youth, but as long as that starting five is out there, man, they're going to have a chance to win any game. And now, seeing them come out of the All-Star break and kind of fire, this is what championship teams and teams like this are supposed to do. They come out and like, all right, this is the home stretch of the year. Let's come out and let's dominate and show why we're the reigning champs. They're doing that right now. At third, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're 41-18, sitting at second in the Western Conference. They have the third best offense, the fourth best defense, second in net rating. They jump one spot from the last power ranking video. Thunder are still a really good team. They've been battling with OKC for Minnesota the entire year in terms of the number one spot, and right now it's very close because they're a game behind OKC and only a half game above Denver for that top 3 spot. Look at their numbers. These numbers are still really insane, honestly. Offensively, they're third in points per game, second in field goals made, second in field goal percentage, first in three-point percentage, first in free throw percentage, fifth in turnovers, fourth in steals, first in blocks, first in true shooting percentage, second in effective field goal percentage. They're not a good rebounding team. They're very small. They're 29th in offensive rebounds, 27th in rebounds. They're 29th in second chance points, and they're 29th in opponent second chance points. But their defense is still elite. Fourth in opponent points off turnovers, third in opponent fast break points, fourth in opponent points in the paint, third in opponent field goal percentage, first in opponent turnovers per game. They're still a really, really good team. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is legitimately in the MVP conversation. It might be some people's winner. 31, 5, and 6 with 2 steals on 54% shooting, 39% from 3, 88% from the free throw line is amazing. J-Dub has been killing it as well, averaging 19 points, shooting 54% from the field and 44% from 3. Chet Holmgren, still really good, still averaging over 2.5 blocks per game. They got Gordon Hayward now, who's been solid. Casey Wallace has still been good. Isaiah Joe, Aaron Wiggins, Kenneth Williams. They're still a really, really good team. That's really all I have to say. They're still a really, really good team, and they're battling for that one spot. So I'm really interested to see them down the stretch battle for the one spot, and will Shai Gilgeous-Alexander win an MVP? That would be amazing. At number 2, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves. They're 42-17, best team in the Western Conference. They have the 17th best offense, the best defense in the NBA. The third in net rating, they jump one spot from last power ranking video. The Wolves are still a really good team. I feel like time and time again, I'd be like, all right, how good are the Wolves actually? And then they come out and do some good things. So it feels like the Wolves are just inevitable. They're on a 3-game win streak. Looking at their numbers, offensively, they're all right. 30th in field goal attempts. They are second in three-point percentage. So they're hitting their threes. They're third in defensive rebounds. Offensively, they're okay. They manage, but their defense, of course, has been elite the entirety of the year. They're fifth in opponent second chance points, fourth in opponent fast break points, second in opponent points in the paint, first in opponent field goals made, first in opponent field goal percentage, third in opponent three-pointers made, fifth in opponent three-point attempts, second in opponent three-point percentage, second in opponent defensive rebounds, third in opponent rebounds per game, second in opponent assists, and they're first in opponent points per game. They give up the least amount of points per game. The Wolves are still great. Anthony Edwards makes the All-Star team, so does Karl Anthony Towns. They've both been having great years. Rudy Gobert is going to win another Defensive Player of the Year award because he's been that great this year. Love the role players, obviously, that they have. Naz Reid, Mike Conley, Jaden McDaniels. Nickeil Alexander-Walker's been good. Kyle Anderson. They've added in Monte Morris at the trade deadline, who hasn't been shooting the ball well, but he's going to be very good for them. And, this Minnesota Timberwolves team is just, they're elite. Defensively, offensively, they still have their struggles here and there, but as long as that defense is staying like it is, and they have Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns, they can do some things, And right, really, it's about, can they lock up the 1 seed, maybe? They're still battling for that. And how serious are they when it comes to playoff basketball? But they're really, really good, man. And finally, at number 1, to no one's surprise, but number 1, for every power ranking video, the Boston Celtics, 46-12, sitting at the best record in the NBA by 4.5 games. They have the best offense, second best defense, first in net rating. They've been number 1 all power ranking videos. and they are the best team in the NBA. I don't even have to read off their numbers because you know how good they are. And yeah, there's not really much to say about the Celtics anymore. I haven't really talked about them a whole lot in terms of making a video about them or anything because they're just dominant. Right now, they're on a 9-game win streak. They've separated themselves from everybody. They're in February they lost 1 game, the first game against the Lakers, and since then they're 9-1 in February. And now really it's about can they win 60-something games, and it's about resting for the play. It's about the playoffs at this point. Regular season, they've already established. All right, we're the best team in the NBA. They are the best team in the NBA, no questions about it. Now it's really about the playoffs and can they get that chip. But yeah, it's going to be for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. And once again, if you enjoyed the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. Really helps out a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.